Hi, welcome to Me First. I'm your host, Stephanie Veloso, and I'm so excited to talk about all things self-reflection and self-improvement. I'm an advocate for self-love, and I'm ready to share all of the advice and lessons I've learned. I am not a mental health professional, and everything you hear comes from experience or light research. If you're ready to become an even better version of yourself, keep listening. This is the hub for self-love. Hello, and welcome to the second episode of my self-love podcast titled Me First. This is your host, Stephanie Veloso, and I am once again incredibly thankful that you are tuning in today. I wanted to mention the quick disclaimer again that I am not a mental health professional. I am not a doctor, a therapist by any means, so everything I talk about today comes from my self-experience or things that I've talked about with friends, that have happened with friends. So yes, I hope that you are having a beautiful day today, sending you all the love, all the happy thoughts, the good energy. I know personally I could definitely use that at the moment. I'm a college student and it is currently pre-dead week, if you will. It is the week before prep week for finals. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting a little bit overwhelmed. So I'm trying my best to find balance before we really get into finals. I tend to pre-worry, if that makes sense. I try to plan ahead and do everything I can to be prepared. So I could actually really use this time to sit down, slow down for a little bit, and talk about some self-love. So I'll get right into it. I want to quickly touch on what I'll be talking about today. I have a few key points. So the first one is, who are you surrounding yourself with? What does your crowd look like? And how do they impact your self-perception? The second thing I want to talk about is prioritizing your me time. This is kind of building off of my first episode where I mentioned being able to identify when to put yourself first. And today I want to talk about what that actually looks like. And obviously it varies from person to person. And finally, I want to talk about the art, if you will, the art of accepting compliments. This is something I've definitely been working on the last few years, I would say. So yeah, we'll get right into it. To my first point, who are you surrounding yourself with? And what does your crowd look like? So I think this especially starts to develop in middle school, but also in high school when you find your friend groups and start to really have meaningful connections with people. Thankfully now I feel like I have very healthy and intentional relationships with people. But that wasn't always the case. In high school, it was tricky to find a group of people that I felt like I was a part of or like I fit in. I think a lot of your self-perception also comes from who you surround yourself with. They definitely have an impact on how you view yourself and what you think of others. So I had a few crowds, a few different friend groups in high school that I related to, and I liked not just having one closed circle. I found that really helped with my self-perception. And if you're surrounded by people that are either constantly putting themselves down or constantly putting others down, and if there's a lot of comparison and things like that, I think it can be pretty unhealthy, pretty toxic to kind of fall into a routine of judging yourself. I had a few friends that would simply point out the negatives and things they didn't like in themselves or in other people. And I found that was something I didn't like to do. So I adjusted, I found new friends, and it definitely had a positive impact on my self-perception. And like I said, I haven't had this happen recently, thankfully, but this doesn't mean that I won't come across these friendships and relationships later in life. I currently have friends that are struggling and trying to find their way out of relationships or friendships because they feel like they're toxic or they're putting themselves down, and that's just not something you want to be surrounded by. So remember that your self-perception obviously is everything you think of yourself, but it also has to do with who you surround yourself with. And my second point was prioritizing your me time. This is something that I am currently working on it, and it's not always easy. I think this week is a good example. These next few weeks will be a good example. It's such a busy time for college students with finals and getting wrapped up with everything. You have to find time to study, to do homework, to, maybe go to the gym, keep yourself healthy. You have to have a social life, see your friends, your family. You're also expected to get enough sleep, and, there's just so much to balance, and it can be hard to squeeze in your me time. But this can look different for everybody, whether it's reading a book or listening to music, being artistic, painting, drawing, making music, whatever it may be. You really need to set aside a time to take care of yourself. Do something you enjoy, whatever that may be. For me personally, my me time is when I am just like a nice drive by myself and listening to music that I love, finding new music, listening to nostalgic music, whatever it may be. It might sound kind of silly, but oftentimes I'm talking like, maybe 3-4 times a week whenever I'm done with school or done with work, whatever time that may be, I tend to just go for a drive. Maybe it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes, it's been an hour and past that. I just take the time to unwind. And for me, it's just driving around, maybe aimlessly, and just listening to music and, zoning out for a minute and just relaxing. I know that when I get home, I have to, cook dinner, I have to do my homework, I have to study. So I'm taking that little brain break before I get back into things. So I would definitely recommend doing that if it's not already a part of your weekly routine. And the last point I want to talk about, again, is the art of accepting compliments and what that looks like. This is another thing that I am working on. Coming to the realization that you are worthy of compliments. And, people say these things, you'd hope intentionally. And I personally love giving compliments. And it's something that I have done increasingly, I think, in the last few years. I met someone, a really good friend, a few years back, who just gave compliments left and right. But somehow they were always genuine. And I love, it's a good feeling when you receive a compliment. And I think it can also be a really good feeling to give compliments. And so every time this person, said, oh, I like this, or I like, your outfit today, whatever it was, it made me feel so good. It's just a nice little confident boost. So I try to follow their example, and I try to give more compliments. It could make someone's day better, brighter. And the slightest little thing, I like your shoes, or I like your hair today, or I love how happy you seem today. Whatever it may be, could really flip someone's day around. You never know what someone's going through. So as much as I love giving compliments, I need to work on receiving compliments and saying thank you, and not, either denying it or using humor, or dismissing it. Know that you are worthy of compliments, and there are these great features that people notice about you, and it's a really good feeling when they point them out. And, it doesn't have to always be physically. It can be about your personality, about your mindset, about how driven you are, whatever it may be. So I would encourage you to give more compliments, but also work on accepting compliments. I think it's a beautiful thing. So that is everything that I have for you today. Thank you so much again for taking the time to be here with me and to listen to what I have to say. I really do appreciate it. And as I did mention in my last podcast, I want to say again that although all of this is coming from myself, a young woman that's in college, these ideas, these things apply to everyone and anyone. So take what you will. And yeah, I hope if nothing else, this is, a learning experience and we're all growing together. We're all going through something. So the purpose is to feel connected and to feel like you are a part of something. But I hope you have an incredible rest of your morning, your afternoon, your night, whenever it is that you are listening to this. Don't forget to come back to the Hub for self-love. Thank you. Bye. Thank you so much for listening today. Whether you were looking to learn something new or simply relax, I hope my words have resonated with you in one way or another. If you or anyone you know needs help, please contact 1-800-662-HELP. And if you haven't already heard it today, you are worthy, you are important, and I am so glad that you exist. Be sure to come back soon.